Right now at 6, a KGW investigation leads to big results.
I just can't tell you how life-changing it is.
Why the VA says it got it wrong when it comes to military veterans with a rare disease who fought for years for their benefits.
It's a disease most people don't even know they have.
Plus,
to ensure a sustainable future for Portland State, we must work through difficult decisions.
Slashing jobs and slimming departments. Why some say the proposed cuts at PSU aren't adding up. And later,
that was Tuesday, and tonight it's a rematch. We're live at the fire pit ahead of what many hope could be another thrilling victory.
good evening. And first at 6, a major follow-up on a KGW investigation into military veterans being denied benefits for a rare, incurable disease. Thanks for joining us. I'm David Molko.
And I'm Christine Pitawanich. Since our initial report, Oregon lawmakers responded, and so did the VA. Investigative reporter Kyle Laboshi has the update. Kyle.
This really is a big development. Following our story, the VA reversed its decision, granting an Oregon veteran the benefits he's been fighting for more than a decade. During his years of service in the Air Force and Air National Guard, Greg Rathburn received plenty of recognition. These days, victories look different.
Look at me. Live my life for a day. I wouldn't wish this on anybody.
The 62-year-old lives with inclusion body myositis, or IBM, a rare muscle disease with no cure. His wife Lori feels the gaps the disease has left behind.
We got a high table to accommodate him so he can just kind of roll right up, and he really doesn't eat food anymore. Kind of too much of a choking risk.
For years, Greg applied for service-connected disability, convinced that toxic chemicals he was exposed to as an avionics technician triggered the disease. But the VA said no every time. Until our reporting last month. On May 1st, the VA notified Greg that it had reversed its decision. He'd been granted service connection for inclusion body myositis. After more than a decade of denials, Greg finally got the answer he'd been fighting for: full benefits.
It's beginning to sink in, and it's a wonderful feeling. You know, I just can't tell you how life-changing it is.
In a letter, the VA said it got it wrong because it failed to review more recent VA treatment records, failed to recognize new evidence, and relied on an examiner who failed to reach Greg by phone to confirm symptoms before completing the report.
It's been a long time coming.
Across the country, we found veterans with IBM fighting a similar battle, fighting for disability benefits.
The Veterans Administration does not recognize inclusion body myositis as a disease that exists.
Every doctor you go into and you say, well, what do you have? I said, I have IBM. Never heard of it.
It's a disease most people don't even know they have until they get to the point where they're falling down.
Studies suggest veterans may be diagnosed with IBM anywhere from 6 to 19 times more often than the general population. That's a wide range. The problem is nobody formally tracks IBM diagnosis. Senator Ron Wyden of Oregon would like to change that. In an April 30th letter, Wyden urged the VA to consider creating a dedicated registry for veterans with IBM while scientific studies continue on whether the disease should qualify for automatic benefits, writing, "The steps to establish presumption take a long time, and veterans affected by this incurable disease suffer physically, mentally, and financially while this scientific review is underway." In a statement to KGW, Senator Jeff Merkley of Oregon added, "No veteran should have to fight a second battle just to receive the care they deserve."
My hope is this exposure will bring awareness to others.
For Greg Rathburn, the VA finally recognized what his years of service cost him. Now, he hopes other veterans with IBM won't have to fight so long for the same recognition.
just starting to sink in there. Kyle, I'm curious to know, looking ahead, what's it going to take for veterans living with this disease to automatically qualify for benefits?
In all likelihood, it's a ways down the road. It does feel like we're headed that way, though. The VA has contracted with the National Academies of Sciences, Engineering, and Medicine to examine various conditions, including IBM, and Next week, the Rathburns will actually share their story at a hearing before that scientific review panel. So hopefully their story resonates with those who are considering this.
Yeah, glad to know that more people will hear their story, and appreciate you for bringing that story to us and our viewers, Kyle. Thank you. And if you'd like to see our full investigative documentary on this topic, Diagnosis Denied, it is available to watch anytime on our streaming app KGW Plus, which you can download for free. It's on Roku, Apple TV, and Fire TV.
In your headlines, new video shows a man pointing a gun at another driver in Gresham. And this evening, that 19-year-old is behind bars. Junior Reyes Galindo is facing charges of menacing and unlawful use of a weapon. Wow, this was a week ago, Tuesday, near West Powell and Southeast 182nd, where authorities say the suspect was also honking and driving erratically. Officers tracked the driver some 30 blocks away, where they say they found the handgun with a 30-round magazine. Reyes Galindo is set to appear in court tomorrow.
And Kaiser police are still looking for a third suspect connected to a shooting near In-N-Out back in February. Kaiser police say 22-year-old Anthony Taylor Manriquez is still on the run and considered armed and dangerous. 2 other suspects were arrested Wednesday in connection with the shooting that left a father seriously injured after being shot in the head while he was driving with his family.
In Woodburn, police are searching for the person who they say abandoned a dog by chaining it to a concrete block. The German Shepherd was found near Willow Avenue and McNaught Street early Wednesday morning. Officers freed the animal, which they say appears to be in good condition, and took it to a local shelter. Woodburn police say they have several leads in the case.
And drivers in Vancouver had a horrible Thursday morning commute on I-5, and this is a big reason why. The Vancouver Fire Department says a tire detached from a northbound semi, and you can see it there, hit a southbound minivan. This picture shows the damage to the van. The driver was treated at the scene, then taken to the hospital. Washington State Patrol is currently investigating. Okay, let's send it over to Matt Zafino now in the Weather Center. Hey, Matt.
Yeah, how about some good news? I can see some blue sky out there for you right now, but up at Timberline today, wow, it looks stormy. It was windy, it was cold, and wait for it, you'll see the snowflakes in the air here, and once they become a little more pronounced in front of the clouds there. So yes, it's been, there we go, you see the snowflakes happening. This is what it did. It's not a lot. There were a couple inches yesterday. It looks like maybe an inch on the ground today as well. Temperatures, though, are chilly. It's 32 degrees, and the wind is still blowing quite strongly. So winter is back in the Cascades. In fact, it gets even more wintry because the snow level drops below 4,000 feet down to about 3,500 feet as we go into the weekend. So some cold, wet weather on the way to the Oregon Cascades, and we'll actually pick up several inches of snow. If you look at this going through time, Mount Hood likes to pick up about 6 inches of snow between Friday night and through the day Saturday and into Sunday morning. So plan accordingly. If you planned on being in the mountains this weekend, it's going to be winter up above 3,500 feet. In the valley, showers diminish tonight. We'll see rain showers and possibly a thunderstorm on Saturday. Heaviest rain will be in the overnight hours Friday night. But our 7-day forecast is filled with warm, dry weather in the lead up to Memorial Day. I'll have that for you in a bit, guys.
Okay, thank you, Matt.
Developing this evening, Portland State is facing big cuts thanks to a budget gap of more than $30 million.
And according to a plan sent to employees today, those cuts include multiple departments and potentially dozens of layoffs. Celine Stevens is live near PSU. Celine, walk us through the details.
David and Christine, so there is a lot to this. Right now, this provisional plan shows that 2 programs would be cut. There would be several reductions to numerous departments and 52 positions would be eliminated, all to address that $35 million budget shortfall.
Even since 2019, we've lost 25% of our enrollment.
That loss in enrollment is the driving factor for Portland State University's $35 million budget deficit, according to President Ann Cudd. Now, to try and close that deficit by 2028, big cuts are on the table.
The provisional plan identifies 2 programs for possible elimination: conflict resolution and university studies, with assigned budget reductions of $11 million and the potential loss of 26 positions.
An additional $5 million in budget reductions would also come from 7 different departments, eliminating another 26 positions. This totaling $16 million in reductions and 52 positions gone.
To ensure a sustainable future for Portland State, we must work through difficult decisions. Any tenured or continuously appointed faculty member affected by an eliminated position will receive a 12-month notice.
But Bill Knight, president of PSU American Association of University Professors, says this is a mistake.
These cuts don't point to a future that pulls us out of a cycle in which we have to keep doing this. So for me, where is the recovery? Where is the future for this institution? And we have seen in this year signs of enrollment recovery and growth that are notable, that really point to the demand for a pause in this situation.
President Cudd acknowledging that growth, but also pointing out other declines.
We have more applications this year, more admissions this year. On the other hand, international students are facing a lot of reasons, not to feel welcome in the United States. So that's affecting international student enrollment generally.
Knight saying state investment is needed to help with recruitment.
We're in a situation in which we haven't invested the resources in recruiting. We haven't invested the resources in marketing, and we've backed away. We've just passively assumed people will come to Portland State, but they haven't, and that's because of a number of factors.
President Cudd says current students should not be impacted. Those who are in a program that is getting eliminated will be able to finish their degree. Knight arguing otherwise.
So this is a situation where students have told us again and again that this is upsetting. They feel powerless. They feel, and when President Cudd comes to talk to them, President Cudd presents it as something we can't, there is no alternative.
It's important to note that these cuts and layoffs are all a part of the provisional plan, meaning that it's not set in stone and things could change before that final plan is in place. Now, there is a comment period that will be open for 30 days that the union will use to propose alternative ideas to this and mobilize politicians and community members to fight with them. Back to you.
Celine Stevens on the Portland State campus this evening. Thanks, Celine.